Hey everyone, and welcome to the news of Overwatch for January 31st. That is today, the Wednesday, in the middle of the week. We're bringing you the news. So, let's do some recapping of Overwatch League, shall we? Week 3 was pretty intense. It brought a lot of really close matches and a lot of pretty cool games and astounding defeats. Overall, 5 matches were brought to the 5th map this week, so that's a lot of really close games. What does that mean? Some of the top teams faced off, and they're no longer any undefeated teams in Overwatch League, which comes as a big surprise. The biggest surprise of the week probably comes from the fact that some of the top Korean teams were knocked out by some smaller teams. So New York XL lost to the Philly Fusion in what was a surprising turnaround. It went into the 5th match, and we did not see Pine come out on the control map, the 5th map, which was Lijiang Tower. It was interesting to see because generally Pine comes out when they play control maps, but those are generally also on Ilios, and this one was a Lijiang Tower 5th control map, and we didn't see him, and Philly took the win, which handed New York XL their first loss of the season. Also, we saw the London Spitfire in a very surprising loss to Boston Uprising. London tried to out-dive comp the dive comp specialists in Boston Uprising, and it didn't work out well for them. Boston Uprising ended up taking it despite coming into the match at 1-3. And the match of the week for sure was New York XL versus Seoul Dynasty. This was a match of titans, 2 all-Korean teams facing off against each other. Seoul Dynasty, obviously the slight favorites heading into the match, and they proved to really be going back and forth the whole time. It was a slugfest. First, New York XL took a map, then Dynasty, so forth and so on, until the 5th map, in which New York XL held on for the victory. Now, it was incredible to watch, and I highly recommend going back and checking out all of the different maps. You can see how some members of the Dynasty couldn't even hold out for the whole match. For instance, Munchkin had to be swapped out and put on, Bunny had to be put in instead of him because he could not handle the ability of the Tracer on the New York XL team. So it was a pretty incredible test of skill to watch, and it was by far the best match that we've seen yet in Overwatch League, so that's really exciting. Additionally, we had some pretty cool games on the lower tiers of play. We had the Battle for Los Angeles, in which case the Gladiators faced off against the LA Valiant. The Gladiators held victory on the first 2 maps, but lost the next 3 in a surprising reverse sweep that the LA Valiant went back and, after losing the first 2 matches, settled down, made sure that they were following through on their strategies, and won out in the end. The LA Valiant have been an up-and-coming team and are doing really well. Not as well as the Philly Fusion, being able to knock off one of the all-Korean teams in NYXL, but hey, they've got some room to grow as well. Now, the other match that was pretty cool, Houston has now won 16 maps in a row without a loss. Yes, they faced some of the lowest tier teams, I suppose. Teams coming from the bottom, like Fuel and the Florida Mayhem and the Shanghai Dragons. But we'll see how they fare against better teams this week when they go up against Seoul Dynasty. Now, that is one match to look out for, but also coming up for them is a match against San Francisco Shock first, so that might be 20 maps in a row before they face off on the Dynasty, and that's got to be a huge confidence boost for this Houston Outlaws team. They have some of the best individual players at what they're doing, and we'll see if they can come together and still work so fluidly against the Seoul Dynasty when they play against each other. Now, the other match that I would really recommend you look forward to is the Korean teams facing off again in London Spitfire versus Seoul Dynasty. That's going to be a really intense match. They've both got really extremely great DPS. Fleta may be the MVP of the league so far, but you've got people like Prophet on the other side who play very good DPS and are looking to take the title of #1 team in Overwatch. Not to mention, coming off of that loss against Boston Uprising, London will want to make sure that they can make a statement against such a powerful team as Seoul Dynasty. Now, the other teams to watch out for, I would really highly recommend to check out what Fusion is doing. They started the season having no scrimmages because of conflict in schedule, and so started the season pretty low in the rankings and kind of not together so much, but they managed to come out and beat a team like New York Excel, which means in the future they could sneak into the playoffs and definitely have some prospects for Stage 2. Now, Stage 2 is coming up quickly as Stage 1 reaches its closing, and we'll have some patch notes to be dealt with in Stage 2. These were delivered to us by Jeff Kaplan about a week ago in a developer update, and they started to talk about the things that are going to change, including a big nerf to Mercy again. It seems like the balancing on Mercy wasn't handled well, and they're going through another round of things. So Valkyrie will now be decreased in time from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. You won't get that extra charge in res, and you won't have instant res. It will take some time to get that res off. So there won't be those instant two-team swings and team fights, which will definitely impact Overwatch League, but will also impact all of us in our competitive games in Overwatch. So make sure to get that practice in with the new Mercy as much as possible. Also, Mercy's Guardian Angel speed while in Valkyrie has been decreased by 50%, so she won't be able to fly around as much, making her easy pickings. Now I can play more Widow. Excellent. In any case, another character receiving a nerf this week from the developer updates news is Junkrat. His concussion mine will have a redistributed damage. So if you're closer to the concussion mine, you get a lot more damage dealt to you than if you're further away. Previously, it was neutral damage no matter how far away from the concussion mine you were. This kind of makes sense, and it will help to alleviate some of that Junkrat pressure that we're all dealing with, and the fact that Junkrat always gets plays of the games. Yeah. Anyway, the Overwatch replay match of the week is up next, and thanks so much for tuning in. See you over on the other side. Bye. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Overwatch replay. This time we're covering just one section, the defense portion on Volskaya. As you saw, our elo has caused us to drop a little bit, so I was at plat at the end of the placement sessions, and I was up there for a little bit, but we dropped down. So I'm just going to show what to do with Torb on Volskaya on defense. A lot of the times that we're going to do the standard thing of set up a burner turret someplace where you know that it'll get destroyed, but maybe it'll get a lot of damage, maybe a cheat kill. Here we've got an Orisa and D.Va, so I'm just going to set it up back here, looking through that corridor, making sure that anybody that's coming through is going to get hit, and they're going to have to deal with the extra damage the turret deals, and really get worried about something that auto-targets and doesn't depend on aiming, which, you know, at this elo, not a lot of people are super duper great at. So we're doing that, holding that corridor, which people move down. I'm checking to see that everyone's okay. I'm waiting for my armor to build up. Now, a lot of people, while playing Torbjorn, are going to be forgetting about that armor piece. They usually just put it out when it's the molten core, but making sure that you're doing it as much as possible in terms of putting down what needs to be done. Now here we're getting pressured on the point by D.Va. I'm going to put this turret here so that it covers both sides. It covers the point and it covers down the lane, making sure that I can help out my team as much with adding damage, but you can see that Reinhardt charge really messes that up. So the second place that I like to put the turret is in this little box. It's a standard place. You'll see lots of Torbs put their stuff down, Bastion set up in there. At a lower ranking, it's easy to put it in there and difficult to make it move out. Now here I've got some armor left up, so I'm going to use that to help myself. I was really trying to push that mini D.Va as we had covered the point as well as we could. Here I want to make sure and get to that small health back. You saw I was at 2 health. That's pretty intense to survive through, but our Mercy keeps me back up after I get the health back, making sure the armor's down. Now I have the molten core. I'm going to save it for when they have a stronger push. hopefully. And you see that they've got that Reinhardt there, that Mercy, both of them go down, and there's not much to do. This Moira presents a big problem. You saw her there in the kill feed. Right now she's getting taken out by Junkrat, and we've got a team wipe basically. So we're winning these team fights here on the point. You saw that 4 or 5 of them went down. I used my Molten Core there to make sure I was adding damage onto the point. Now it's just about trying to reset. So they've all pushed up to this choke point, so I'm going to push my turret up as well. Maybe a little late on putting that turret there. You'll see that Moira ult go off. So if that Moira ult is up, it can really target a turret pretty well because it kills for such a long distance. Now here we've got the Reinhardt on the point. He got stuck by that Junkrat, thank God, and we team shot the rest of them into oblivion. Now this is the part where you can see that it causes a lot of problems. So 4 people eliminated by 1 D.Va ult. You can see we all get stuck in that thing. I thought I was safe here around the corner, wasn't safe, and therefore their wipe of our team lets them take the point. So now it's just regroup and reset. We gotta get ready for this second point here. There might have been a possibility to get back to it, but it's just such a long walk that it's not worth it in case they have a hard push for the second point. You see, I'm at 72% with my ult, so setting up my turret, making sure that I have it ready for when they push in hard here. That'll be what I need. There I give the Mercy some armor, and I'm ready to go. So you see as they push in, I'm making sure to call out that Tracer's there, missing my shots, using the shotgun version of Torbjorn's gun to make sure that I get some sort of damage on. Waiting for other people to take up that armor pack. So we're down 2 pretty important people. Our Mercy went down and our Ana went down, so we don't have healers on the point. My goal here is to make sure that I can put a lot of damage, ward them, like zone them off the point, using that Torb ult. This Tracer was in here. I used my armor to make sure that I don't necessarily die. The Ana comes in to save me, and everyone's rallied around me to help me. So there we go. So I've got some an armor pack and a second one coming up soon. I'm trying to give it to Mercy so that she has as much protection as she can get for the next push. And my turret is still up where I need it on that second Overwatch level. I'm moving through, just trying to monitor what's going on in the open space, knowing that that Tracer really likes to push through into the back. So that Tracer pops up, I'm going to the left there, missing my shots as I tend to do, but I'm also pressuring that Tracer, making sure she goes back. Now that Mercy needs to make sure she's in the fight at least as much as possible. She might have backed off a little too far there to get to me, and so that is going to be a difficult push. My turret is still up though, so if I can stay alive, my turret can do a lot of good things, but I go down thanks to the Junkrat on the point. My turret goes down thanks to the D.Va ult, which is well placed. And you see Juju take out the Tracer, but the Tracer gets res, so now we're just fighting on the point, trying to make sure. I'm sticking a little off the point, making sure that I've got this turret going up. Probably a mistake to a Molten Core there, but adding as much damage as I can was my goal, and so the only way to set that turret up as quickly as I could was to make sure that I was in that Molten Core. Now I see upstairs there's that Junkrat that nobody wants to take care of, so I'm going up to try and push him off this position. I'm dropped down anyway as I see him push past, but that just means he'll come back for it. Now I need to set up my turret so that I can get some damage on there. I see that Junkrat. My turret's putting damage on, but it's only a level 1 turret, so it's not doing all that much damage. Now it's at 2, but that D.Va gets up on it with the help of the Roadhog. So Road is still alive, Mini D.Va's up. I'm landing some shots, but not all. Her jumps are timed really, really well for me to not hit her. But you see, even after that team fight, I'm almost up to my ult again. So now it's just important that I get up to a position. I should be dropping some armor onto the point when I can. But right now, main focus is to set up the main damage that Torbjorn deals, which is through that turret. Messed up throwing that onto the point, but gave it to myself, so that's okay. The Tracer messed up her ult, but you can see that they're pushing into the back, and I'm worried that that Tracer is really going to take things down. My turret goes down. I'm trying to set it up in the back row. I'm trying to one-on-one this Tracer is what I think I'm doing, wanting her, and then the D.Va drops in, and there was a Junkrat behind me the whole time. So that was a bit of a challenge for me. But we're pushing up here. You see I've got a armor pack in reserve, trying to push on this D.Va. I'm Molten Core so that I can put some actual damage on through my own gun. I wanted to make sure that I can get that D.Va out of mech. So I push on that. I'm going to set up this turret into the corner. You see there's 20 seconds left in this round. And just keep moving the turret, making sure that it's in the position of greatest use, making sure that those armor packs are out and about as much as possible and to the people who most benefit from it. And so we're waiting for their final push, but they've used all of their ults in the previous push, so it should be an easy one to knock down. There we go, D.Va's out of mech. Now we just have to contend with a few of the other characters. Pushing on that Moira, she goes down too. Both their healers are down, so it should be an easy cap for us to hold off. And there you go. Go back to my turret, make sure it's up to health as the round is complete. So thank you so much for watching how that Torbjorn did his stuff, making sure to position your turret so that it's of greatest effect for your team behind shields when you can get it, or in vantage points where it's hard to hit. That's clearly obvious, but those are some of the choice positions that I chose to do, and especially it's important to really figure out how to position the Torbjorn turret, especially when your turret gets destroyed and you're kind of out of the fight. Where to position those, I like to have them a little bit out of the way, but so that they have good line of sight. You saw how I positioned it on point B, a little off the point when I molten cored and did that, or when it was on point A so that I could have those two lanes of fire, even though it went down almost immediately. Anyway, thanks for tuning in and checking out this week's Overwatch replay. Thanks, bye.